Welcome to Fear Porn Propaganda. Today we're discussing consciousness. I'm here with Wisecraft.
Yo,
So, today's episode, we wanted to kind of take a more scientific approach to things. Like, we do a lot of speculation, but the consciousness itself, it's like the last frontier, really. It's like the first and the last frontier. And I know I've been doing a lot of research on this lately. I don't know if you have, Keith. Anything?
a little bit, not much.
Well, when I first approached the issue, I mean, really it's something I've been pondering my entire life, but when I started looking for more like what other people have studied, it just started to really run the gambit of human experience. I learned that it was multifaceted, that the study of consciousness has four main elements or branches of study, um, not including um, the study of human history and psychology, but there's also the study of artificial intelligence, um, psychology, um, neuroscience, and I'm blanking on the other two for some reason. But
Well,
it's interesting because I'm just trying to pull things out of memory. Um,
I told you to have notes.
yeah, I wound up just kind of going
Or links.
all over the place
Yeah,
with it
whatever
a
you want
bit.
to do. This is your time. You get to show us what you want.
Um, yeah, so
If you need me to go to anything, just give me a link and I'll put it up on there to show the people.
so there was a YouTube video I found called "Human Consciousness: The Last Frontier," and it was pretty cool. Um, it kind of helped me get into the more historical aspect and the mechanics of it. Um, hmm.
All right.
So yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's just get into philosophy then and talk about consciousness in that way, and then we can expand from there.
Sure. Historically speaking, there's a lot of great thinkers that have um,
Hey,
influenced others in their lives, obviously, up until today. Um,
We have somebody.
so I have kind of like a conclusion about some of this, which is it's not something that any of these people I've been listening to have really come to any kind of conclusion or something, but about the whole study itself, I sort of have concluded that what we're attempting to do is justify an axiom that the universe is a singularity, which is a type of uh, monoist, like singular thinking, all is one philosophy that goes back, um, you know, into our history. I think that the first human, um, the human experience itself, when you ponder our creation and whether we were put here by a god or whatever it is that we have arisen from, is this material world, and our struggle to find our place in it, like comfortably, harmoniously. Consciousness is like this natural evolution from the material world. And in the recent studies, uh, folks, um, let's see, nope, can't remember that guy's name.
there we go.
Hey,
But
welcome, man. Um,
Uh,
Anon's doing his presentation, so be quiet for a minute.
all right.
oh, no, it's all good, dude. What's up, Hapla?
Another beautiful day.
Um, if, how long have you been listening?
Just got in.
I can't hear anything. Anyway, so what were we talking about?
Consciousness.
Yeah, that's right. So the impression that I've gotten from listening to people who studied this, I sort of like these credible people who have degrees and teach at colleges and things like that. There seems to be really obvious push by the community for a monoist look or view of the universe, some sort of like equation, like what Stephen Hawking was talking about, type of thing.
You watch that?
The movie?
No, the Stephen Hawking, that thing, the thing
the interview with Stephen Hawking?
Yeah, with
and Ray Kurzweil?
Yeah, Ray Kurzweil.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was,
It was
right?
so weird.
That's when I found out that he was like working for Google. I didn't even know he was working for Google until that.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Oh yeah. So contemporary thought has been influenced by hermeticism, essentially, and it was his name also starts with an H. Hegel. The Hegelian dialectic. Hegel derived very much so from the Hermetic tradition, and I've tried to link Hermes Trismegistus to Heraclitus, but the dates seem a little off to me. From what I understand, it was proven in and around the 15th century that Hermes Trismegistus was in fact late Roman, which leads you to around around the time where Jesus was born, unless you want to include the further existence of the Eastern hemisphere of the empire that continued to exist for another 400 years after that, so like 400 AD, around then. So the fall of the Roman Empire puts Hermes Trismegistus around maybe a couple hundred years or so within the lifetime of Christ. So it's not hard to think that maybe somebody did compile some works of another philosopher and release them into the world under this name of Hermes Trismegistus. And because there's no credible living person to whom you can attribute the work to.
Right.
So it could even be a compilation of work by a group of philosophers or something like that, who were maybe students or part of a cult of Heraclitus, and then other esoteric.
Yeah, and it also goes into the Egyptian stuff with Thoth. Hermes claimed to be Thoth.
Yeah.
Thrice born.
That was the lore, the myth around Hermes Trismegistus, was that he was the most ancient philosopher in human history, that they even credited him as being a prophet and living around the time of Abraham. So, that's a really fantastical lore around it, but looking at more recent evidence, it seems to prove that Hermes didn't come around until a couple thousand years ago. So what was before that? What was the influence? What was the world like that created a Hermes Trismegistus type of philosophy?
Probably
that we derive so much from now.
It's technically a type of science in a way, because it was the first kind of person to ask questions and kind of go deeper into the meaning of life and how things were and why they're that way. And he kind of like Siddhartha decided to do a meditation and go into the underworld, meet the nine lords.
I've got an idea.
What's up?
Nimrod. Semiramis, a lot of everything that was passed down really did start with Nimrod and Semiramis.
This was like Babylonian.
This was the original Babylon, when all people spoke the same language. Linguists have even figured it out that there at one point was one language on the face of the earth. And at some point, the languages have been were broken into their respective groups, many languages. The Tower of Babel that's been spoken of is with Nimrod wanting to build this. In some of the books that were left out of the Bible, I think it's Jasher, describes what the Tower of Babel looked like, and in the description, it sounds like CERN. They were building a Stargate, and there's a lot of things that were left out of the Bible due to the fact, I believe, that the Roman Catholic Church, the Universal Church, if you will, did not want people to have knowledge, which is power. And that is also why the esoteric groups that still hold on to the mystery religions that passed down from Babylon through Egypt, through Babylon again, passing on through Greece, the Roman era, the Etruscans, the Phoenicians, the Hittites, all of these people, and then you can cross the globe, go to South America, you find exactly the same stories with different names, which would be respective to the fact that languages changed at some point and became a variant of one language. Boom, they were different, and separation began at one point, but the same story is consistent. And there is an effort,
lore, essentially.
Well, there's actually an effort. Smithsonian is involved with burying truths. The mystery schools are involved with organizations that are burying truths. That any organization that does not want to be forthcoming about anything, I will not trust. And there's been evidence for a long time that knowledge has been people in power have wanted to keep it for themselves, because that is the ability to control the masses.
Okay, man. Yeah, we can definitely go into all of that stuff, but we don't really necessarily have to, and that's kind of the beautiful thing about this subject of consciousness, is that you can take it pretty much anywhere you want, and then what I'm trying to do in my own personal life is take a subjective and an objective view of it and try to like step back from stepping back, and find another some sort of a philosophical argument against the type of things that you're talking about, because what we're seeing is a controlled manipulation by vested interests, people
yes.
who hold the monetary power and know how to use that power against us to keep people enslaved. And that's been going on throughout human history.
Yes.
And then the philosophical arguments that we presented over the ages have led to all kinds of conflicts and things like that have all led us to where we are today. And I see that you're correct in many ways. We are influenced by these by cults and philosophies of thought that may or may not be like the best. So yeah.
So I put it up so you guys can see what Wikipedia says about consciousness.
Okay.
It says it's the quality or state of awareness, or being aware of an extreme object, external object, or something within itself. It has been defined as sentience, awareness, subjectivity, the ability to experience or feel wakefulness, having sense of selfhood, and the executive control of the mind.
Yeah, you could probably stop right there
Cool.
because there are all sorts of levels of experience that we have, and for me, approaching this in my early age, I perceive myself as one. Like I'm self-aware, and I perceive the oneness of myself, and I interact with the world based on that. Um, but the question is like, how did this come to be? How did I come to exist? And it's a philosophical argument that many people struggle with. That
all
happens to
their
be
mm,
a very
all their
difficult
lives.
endeavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an honorable endeavor to try to do this, and I think that people have been trying to do this throughout human history, and a lot of it is alluding to a very wonderful um, perception that we could have about our place in the world, and at the same time we're seeing people being abused, and that there's a type of nature that resides within us that oppresses people and things like that. That's something that, as a consciousness, as a larger consciousness, you would hope we would try to figure out and work together to better common conclusion,
Well, what is
existence.
consciousness to you, Anon? Like, what's your personal belief on consciousness
Um, I don't know
outside
if
of
I.
research?
That's a really good question. I like that one. What is consciousness to you?
I personally don't have really an opinion. That's why I was wondering what yours was.
Yeah, I actually do have interesting opinions, like, but they're personal philosophies. And what I was trying to do is probably just talk about the more subjective aspects of consciousness in general. Um, but oh yeah, the research I was doing was talking about people who study this. I'm sorry, I don't have a list of names or anything like that, but people I've listened to have presented in college forums. Um, it seems to me that it's pushing toward like a singularity. God, I'm trying to elaborate on this. A monoistic view of the world. But for me personally, I think of it kind of in a singularity type of scenario as well. But immediately it takes on a duality. Just the mere fact that it exists as a singularity inherently gives it a dual uh, consciousness, a dual understanding. So I think that's sort of what happens when in a cell is it experiences its own singularity and then suddenly is confronted with the dualistic nature of itself. And so that's how the cell divides.
So the cell is aware of itself.
Yeah, but only on a very simplistic level. This type of level is that which gives rise to our consciousness, and so it's on that molecular scale. You know, we exist on so many multitudes of levels of like size and depth and space and time that we find ourselves in one aspect of the singularity, experiencing it as individuals, experiencing as consciousness does in its essential nature is that oneness of self-expression. So
Right.
that's kind of what I believe, but I'm trying to relay it more to the scientific research, like current state of human affairs. So that's kind of important to me.
So here's a question: is a rock conscious?
No, a rock is not conscious, but it exists within a universe that is its essential nature consciousness and only exists from the expression of uh, like the big consciousness of the universe. At least that's what the scientific community seems to be leading us to. I don't know if I necessarily believe that materialism requires consciousness in order to exist. It's just part of an overarching philosophy about the nature of the universe itself, that it itself is a singularity, and at that point that it does become a singularity, it then gains infinite potentials. And our consciousness only proceeds through a short wavelength of time and space and light, and so we see it moving by, we see it going by our perception of it, because we embody another aspect of the larger consciousness. Yeah, anyway, it goes on, but this philosophy has actually been around for a long time. I know that I'm not the first person to think of it, and a lot of philosophical thought alludes to it, even going back to like Aristotle and Galileo and Socrates and all of those great guys. I think, I'm very happy that I have people like this to study, and yeah, be part of the larger community of things.
Awesome.
That would be my goal.
Well, then, what about a crystal?
A crystal is shown to be a living thing. Isn't that correct?
I don't know. I was wondering what your take on that was.
That's a good question.
Because crystals, if you go into Dan Burrish information, if you like get into that type of research, I know he's like a disinformant agent, in my view, but of course there is some truth in some of the stuff he talks about, and one of these things is he pops out every once in a while is Project Lotus,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where they take a crystal and they put it in some sort of hypervention chamber that has magnets all around every direction, and they turn it on for like a certain amount of time, like 24 hours, 36 hours, to like certain time frames, and then they go back and check on it, and they find that there's extra growth on it, and this growth doesn't seem to be from our world.
Ooh, interesting. I want to see that.
It's Project Lotus.
Yeah, there's cool stuff in the universe, man. I swear there are different
It's a Black
scales.
Ops project, so it's not the easiest thing to find.
Yeah, there's so many different varying scales that we can measure and that consciousness can observe. And as far as we know, they're infinite in potential. At least that's our axiom. That's like the premise that the scientific community seems to be basing its philosophical argument in basing its philosophical argument.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I was saying about a crystal versus a rock. It seems that a crystal grows where a rock kind of is molded.
Yeah, but if you're asking if it has consciousness.
Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of leading to, because of its growth, it may have consciousness like a plant.
Yeah, well, I do believe that there are varying levels of consciousness. I kind of do have an intrinsic belief that we do possess this infinite potential of conscious awarenesses, if not only the fact that we exist together, so many of us, and we all are sort of working together and creating a zeitgeist, or it's not even called a zeitgeist, it's just called a geist, and it was this German guy. I read about this German guy, but I don't remember his name. I really need to work on that.
I think what you're talking about is the ghost in the machine principle.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
Well, if we're the machines, we're like the biological
The
machine, and
biomechanical machines, but truly, what is being discovered now in quantum physics, it's undeniable, is that more and more proof is now emerging that we are living in a holographic universe. We, our consciousness, inhabit these bodies, are created somehow in a way between our mother and father to create a new consciousness, at the same time creating a new biomechanical suit for the consciousness to be inserted into.
Okay. Oh, can I just detract from what I think the scientific community might say in opposition to that?
Mm-hmm.
They would probably say, well, I don't know, I would guess, let's see, that in order for something to exist, it has to have the ability to change.
It does.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, and we
So
do
that's
change.
actually a Heraclitus who said that, and the sort of holographic reality that we are potentially living in is a way of explaining its quality of infinite potential. I don't know if you might, I mean, I was going somewhere else with that at first, but I don't know if you agree with that last statement or not. Anyway,
there's a lot
in
of
order
things that are
for
up for discussions.
Yeah, so this holographic like paradigm that is being described, let's see.
You mean by the scientists?
Yeah,
You seem to
who are arguing in favor of the holographic reality.
right, which has to do with the if you take a electron microscope and you go to its finest point, you find that like you zoom in to the most zooming in you can, and they find that there's pixels.
Okay.
Which is the same thing as like if you zooming in on the TV.
That's like going into
computer.
The Planck scale of things.
And so like on the really small scale, if there's pixels, that means that we're essentially computer parts or holographic images.
Oh, it just means that their imaging machine doesn't see far enough into it. It just sees that. And then there's evidence for subatomic level of reality too.
But we can get to subatomic. The electron microscope goes that far. It doesn't go further.
The electron microscope can pick up atoms.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I never really studied what electron microscopes can do.
Yeah, that's what they do. They use them to make machines, like little microscopic machines or nano machines, essentially at the nano scale. And that is, they have to take basically the neurochemistry and put it together in such a way that it creates moving parts, little machines that are rotary movements at the nano scale. And then once they become like able to replicate, then they can build themselves and so forth. And that's how that gets done on that scale.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But they can also now build things at that level with the with the printouts. You know, the 3D printouts. They can like make things that are nano size with 3D printouts, and then build them so you can make like a microscopic machine in that way. Anyway, you guys have anything to add?
So
it sounds like an Inception.
What?
I said it sounds like an Inception. An Inception?
Inception?
Yeah, like the movie, exactly.
Like a dream, or the Matrix. A dream, and each time it like expands the time frame.
Yes, and we pretty much create our own worlds.
Thank you.
Through our own thought process, you know, because we pretty much can see in the future, but for so far. It's like we can like plan future, like a future planning type of ability that we have. Yeah, I think we create our own realities through our thought and process, or the process of thought.
Somebody else has been studying the same things I have. I agree with you. We create our own reality, and our realities merge with each other. And there's many other facets of it, vibrations, and there's so much complexity that's still left unknown. And we're only just touching the tip at this point and understanding what it really is. But I believe the same thing, that we are creating our own reality each millisecond that passes by.
And I think we deal with multiverses because I've been having a lot of deja vus recently, and like, yeah, I feel like I've been running into myself.
Like you've been there and done that before?
Yeah.
That has happened to me all my life, and I've avoided things because I had ideas that I had done something before and it didn't quite work out as well as I thought it might at the time. And when that hit me, I turned around and started doing the exact opposite and went away from where I was going to go. I believe it saved me from some troubles in my life. There's a lot that we're capable of that we are just barely beginning to figure out. And the control mechanism that this world, that these people that we all know about, they want to keep us in we're just animals. There's nothing more besides this biomechanical suit, and life and death, it's meaningless. Everything's meaningless. Hopelessness, fear, and they want to, and that's, you keep people in ignorance and in fear, then they can control people quite easily, like herding cattle or sheep.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so then the opposite would be like if we don't fear, they lose control.
I'm not. Yeah, when you lose your fear of death, there's absolutely nothing anybody can do to you. When the realization is that life, conception, and death is part of a greater cycle. We're all going to die, and we continue on after death.
Well,
yeah, there's
I
a
look at the
psychological
word,
aspect to the control
I
mechanism.
look at the word death, die as the split.
Thank you. The biomechanical suit stops, but
Yeah,
our
the
consciousness moves on. Our soul continues on.
split. We can't really die out. You know?
No.
No such thing as that.
I'm tired, man. Well, okay, just give me a minute.
Hey, I would like to talk to your philosophy or your diatribe about how the control mechanism and shit like that. Anyway,
I mean,
there's like a
it starts from a child.
philosophy behind it.
You know, that control should start from the beginning. You know, it's like they groom us with it. You know, and then now that we finally cut the real fucking umbilical cord, you know, we have a sense of freedom, but I still think we still in a somewhat a trap. You know, we still need to work a little bit more harder to free our mind totally. We need the totality now. You know, this simulation that we're running is good, but I know something else is coming down the line that's better. Yeah, because, you know, I've started working on my abilities and use my telekinesis, you know, use my body. I'm supposed to have your theory, you know. I'm sticking with that now. Yes, you're supposed to be thinking like I'm thinking. You know, I supposed to just say what you was thinking or you was getting ready to say. Like I said, get me about 5 people like that, and I can change the world. 5 people that say, you know what, I was just thinking that. Well, I was just thinking about you. You know, give me some people that can do that, and I can change the world.
What up, Rob? Welcome. Yeah, this is cameras. I mean, things not working. Anyway, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, we were talking about
Truth.
consciousness, right?
Huh?
We were talking about consciousness, right?
Yeah, we're talking about consciousness. Oh, and I want to take this time to apologize for last week not coming on. I got screwed. There was something going on with Google over several states, and they weren't letting broadcasting go.
Live.
So I just said, screw it, and I'll do it next week. And here we are.
Right.
So, continuing with the consciousness conversation.
Because I'm into another level of expansion. You know, can my consciousness be expanded to like a supreme higher point?
Yes.
You know, I'm talking about floating, flying.
I think that this is a fishbowl, essentially. We hear it in many different forms: music, movies, people that have this esoteric mystery religion background that are the higher ups and things have been kind of, some people have been putting things out there, giving us ideas of what's going on. I can reference Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here, we're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year. Pink Floyd, very, very heavy into the esoteric mystery religion stuff. All their music, everything is really talking about a lot of that stuff. Many other things in our media through times past up until now are talking about similar things, and
there's a bunch of symbolism on their albums too.
Yes. Well, we as humans are born. We're at conception. We're conceived. We are born, and then we die, and that's part of a process of learning. And we have choices we make in this world, and it's kind of like testing, proving grounds. Who are we? What are we all about? Will we want this world that's only temporary because we move on past it? Will we begin to worship this world and be attached to the biomechanical suit and everything that pleases the biomechanical suit? Or are we really more interested in what's going to be happening after we move on to the next phase, after the biomechanical suit goes into ultimate failure and no longer is functional, but our consciousness moves on? And I do believe that we do have a spirit body, or will be given one, and there is another plane of existence that is unfathomable to us right now. We couldn't even imagine exactly what it is about, but it will be amazing. That's my personal belief.
And it may not be nothing like the Bible says. We cannot expect it to be like that.
Well, in the Bible,
it's
interpreted by men. It doesn't really exactly give a right now. It's more of a guidelines on how to live here to move on to the next. It doesn't tell us what the next is going to be. It just says it's going to be cool. Just chill out, and these are some rules to live by, and you boom, and then you go on to the next, and we'll find out then. It's kind of like, just chill out, hold on, don't kill each other, be peaceful, turn the other cheek, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't rape, don't pillage. It just gives you, basic guidelines to live by.
Some good character, right?
And then you move. Then you take that, try to put it to the best that you got.
Well, it's kind of common sense, really.
Thank you. That's what it's common sense. If you don't want somebody to talk about you behind your back, don't talk about them behind their back.
Right.
Don't be a backstabber.
My question is to you is, why did you choose this planet to come to?
This planet?
Yeah, think about that. Because if we are spirit first, then we made the choice to be processed here through this matrix or matrix.
Maybe
to come here, right? That's just what I'm thinking. I'm outside the box.
Well, I don't know if we. I think
inhabit us.
I don't know if we have the choice. I think that we're here. We're stuck on this plane. That when we're conceived.
I always felt like when I was a kid that I did choose to be here. I thought that. I told my mom. I even was like, "Yeah, I totally chose to be here because I wanted to experience the world." And I told her I came from a different place. I told her I had parents where I came from. I wasn't from this planet. It was interesting. I actually
Go ahead,
believe
bro.
that there was a time when I was a little kid where I didn't think anybody else was real. I thought I was the only real thing in the entire universe. It was weird, and of course I grew past that, but it was an interesting take on our different perceptions of reality and how they evolve, like what we start out with and where we end up.
That is so true. That is so true. I agree with you 150%.
Yeah, there's
Because
like
as a
the
child, your thinking is completely different.
go ahead.
I
Yeah.
feel I feel that maybe for me, in that light, I was asked to be here, and I have a reason.
Oh, there you go. Asked to be here. See,
I have something to do in this world, and I'm trying to figure out what it is and put it into the best practice, and trying to be the best person I possibly can, according to what I believe is my mission statement in this world.
Yeah. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people only have despair. And that's the one thing that you have to realize sometimes is it's kind of a luxury to be alive
Yeah,
for some and then not so much for others.
right.
My
That
understanding, it's like a window of experience. So like you have your window and you live that window and then you go on to another window. So like
mm,
my perception of my life is I'm currently in this window because I put myself here. But I'm not from this window originally. I came from a different window and then I
there you
came
go.
went from there to here kind of perception.
There you go.
So I don't in death I don't my personal belief is there's no time. So when you die here, you may go
timelessness.
to a different place in the future from our perception of now,
You
or maybe to the past from our perception of now.
Imagine being
Here's
able
what I
to be able
think.
to see it all.
I Yeah, I think what happens is you become assembled back into the singularity. You're taken away from this time, this space. You go back to the way things naturally go. You become part of the this like wavelength of infinite potential
Yeah.
that exists in infinite reality, infinite time, infinite space. And I see the evidence of such a world all around me. Um, I mean, Weiskraft was talking about the electron microscope, and even smaller you go, what you see are different levels of um, reality, and our consciousness is taking us to these places and showing us the fundamental nature of how it works. And
Mm,
so we could potentially take our consciousness and apply it to the natural world and get a better understanding
mm.
of how the singularity really works and what it feels like to be part of it.
Yeah.
I like
And
the
maybe we could bring some of that back to this place and this in this world, in this
You
physical
want to
world that
pull
we live
something out?
now, and
I
yeah, and
I
start a
like
revolution.
well to add
Right.
on to that. I'd like to add on to that by saying that we actually affect. It's scientifically proven that we affect things by watching them. Things
Right.
like science experiments. If people are standing in the room when they're trying to run physics, like physical, physics experiments and things with
Yeah, like
small
the two
particles.
slit theory, like the two slit
Yeah,
experiment.
if humans
You're
are
talking about.
watching it, they react differently. If humans aren't present, they react differently. So things in this world,
Yeah, it becomes
by our
waves,
presence,
particles.
act
Yeah,
differently.
exactly. And there's an
There,
infinite potential for awareness to put it
Wow.
to direct itself. And there are so many sources of that
well,
awareness
I
coming
don't
from
think it
all of
directs
us
itself. I
and
think
other
all of
life
us,
forms, and
we all as a
it
consciousness together,
it just
collective like
happens
us.
naturally, is what I'm
I don't
saying.
know. I think we control it somehow. I think we have more of an effect than what we realize. I think just
Yep.
by us coming
We're
together,
part of a
and
natural
boom.
world. That much is undeniable.
Well, I
Like
think we
you
have
are
the
not.
authority
I mean, you
over it.
are.
Yep.
It's something
We
that
can
human
control the
beings have
weather.
had trouble coming to terms with over times, and have created religion to justify it, and have alluded to it in Christianity. Jesus said, you know, look in your heart, and I am there, type of thing.
Hmm.
What was it? What did Jesus say? Somebody knows. Um, And then in the Muslim religion, they'll say, realize that you are but an atom, and the universe is itself enfolded inside of you. So thinking, it's just like, I don't know,
It's all
religions and things like that, if you allow yourself to be like nailed down on one issue for the rest of your life, I feel like you're just giving up on the potential of reality. You've got to be able to let go of things and look at things in a different way and not be set on like a cult-like belief system. Like some people are racist, or some people don't like Muslims, or some people
Yeah.
don't like any white people, for
So
example.
like to expand to your full potential.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Instead of letting yourself close down to certain potentials, you can expand to your full potential.
Well,
Yes.
that's all that life really even ever tries to do, and that's all humanity is trying to do too. It just happens to be that we're fucking shit up pretty bad right now.
Yeah. I think what you were looking
So,
for is
we have to
maybe
take into
this.
consideration this consciousness. Consciousness is something that we can share equally. There's a wavelength that we commonly perceive with every other human being on this planet. And if that's something that's kind of sacred to you, then you will think that maybe murder is bad and things like that. And so you get people drawn into you based on those altruistic ideals too, you know.
Well, here's this. I think
Not just
maybe might be what you were thinking about with the words of Jesus. Is do not let your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many dwelling places. If it were not so, I would not have told you. For I go to prepare a place for you. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but
That sounds pretty similar.
That sounds
to what
like
you said.
something my really
That's the
religious
hit,
friends
though.
would bring up.
yeah.
That's so nice, though. I mean, I don't think that was the one he was talking about. That was a good one, you know, because in the Father's house there are many mansions. Right inside of my consciousness, there are many ideas. There are many levels that I can expand to if I just open it up and tap into it.
I think it's the mansions are real relating to basically other universes,
Yeah.
like the multiple universe. But I just don't think I think we have to go through this proving ground to move on to the next.
Yeah.
To get there.
Who's Society of the Spectacle? Do you guys look at the chats?
No, they're probably not watching. We're just
Okay.
watching.
I just
Anyway.
believe I could have part of it now. I mean, I'm sorry if I offend anybody saying that, but you know, I don't believe I have to wait until I get to the divided realm or to the dream world, because that's where I think I would go at. If I transcend, I will go to where I dream at, you know, because that's where my spiritual
No, I don't agree with that.
nightly basis. You know, that's just my belief. If I was to use the word belief at all.
I wouldn't want to be trapped in a dream state. That doesn't seem like heaven to me. Being
Well,
trapped in a
but
dream, that does not feel
I
like
think
heaven.
that's the world that I've set
Well,
up.
we all have our own perception of heaven, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Exactly. You know,
That was just-
it's like the Bible says you're gonna get some 12 manners of fruit. You know, do you just want to go there for oranges and apples? You want to do all this down here just to
Well, you
get
could
oranges and
say
apples?
Dimitri. Well, you could say Dimitri's like version of heaven could be actually the real heaven, because it's like some sort of computerized universe where you don't hurt yourself anymore and you live forever.
Oh yeah, there are potentials. Even scientists today are saying that the potentials for all different realities to exist simultaneously is there. So there's one where you live for like a split second, or there's one where you live to be like you never died or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the guy's name is Dmitry Zurkov. Look it up. He's all about 2045, like future immortality, going into
Right.
a
He's the
computer
Russian
system
guy,
using your
right?
brain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
That's-
the Russian guy. I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
He's the guy that's
and
supposed to
that's
run the
what
world later on. Right. They spoke about, they prophesied about this guy running the world. Yeah, you know, not on no Antichrist thing, but they just like his ideas.
And what kind of consciousness will that be?
Borg.
I think we'll be losing our consciousness in a lot of ways at that point.
Yeah. Just keep that.
Would you want to get the 70 versions like a Muslim? Wouldn't that be nice?
Mm,
Maybe,
Well,
maybe
I
not.
don't think we heard that.
You know, what would it be? 70 problems?
What was your question?
No, I was saying like the Muslims think that when they go to their haven or heaven, they get them 70 virgins.
you know
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know.
what I think what you were talking about. I
For now.
think the best way to describe what you were talking about with it doesn't sound like the consciousness that Dimitri might be talking about doesn't sound as wonderful once you start thinking about it, is best described in an old book, I think published in 1962, called A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L. Engel. And she talks about a giant brain type system that runs
Yeah,
everybody exactly the same.
when that thing happened with the Bernstein Bears, that Truth Media Revolution was talking about, he went into Wrinkle in Time as well.
Yeah, I
He
like Truth
related
Media
that because it had
Revolution.
the figure 8 on it.
Yep, exactly. I've had a few conversations with with him, because him and I have come from the same thought process with the things we read even as children, to give us some like ideas on how things could be and how things can be. And I
And
don't
actually, I'd
go
like
too
to
far from what he
express
thinks.
that as a I'd like to express that as a question to the audience, about the Bernstein Bears. Like, what is it for you people out there? Is it EI or AI? You know, like, because it seemed to have changed for some people, and for other people, they just don't care. And other people, they're just like, I remember it being that way.
Well, there's a whole
So,
Facebook
I
page
was just
dedicated to
wondering.
that, and there's pictures people have taken
Well, I
that,
know
and they
there's a
actually
blog.
have. Well, they have a couple pages. I think there's one on Google Plus now. People have taken pictures of the books that they still have. They were hidden away in an attic somewhere, and it's actually spelled with an E. And then
Well, didn't you say that you checked your like grandma or something?
yes,
You had
it was my mother,
your
and I
books,
haven't been over
and
there for a while. And they're with an E.
Yeah, see, so then you have that.
Yep.
Have
Changed
you
it
ever
with our consciousness.
have you ever thought of mental time traveling? Because I do a lot of mental time traveling, but I seem to travel a lot back into the past, not so much the present, maybe a few times in the future. But I guess you can find yourself pretty much stuck in your past thoughts. You can even blank out and find yourself even there in the moment. Our minds are great. A great mind is a terrible thing to waste, especially with the ability to mental time travel. If you can go back, I'm quite sure you can see yourself doing something great in the future and be able to pre-predict that and manifest it in your reality.
Hmm.
Did you watch that movie, Mr. Nobody?
I've seen it.
You should check it out. It's pretty cool.
It
Hey
was really good.
guys, can you guys hear me?
Hey,
Yeah.
there's Robert. Welcome in, man.
That movie, Mr. Nobody, I feel like that's my life.
That's funny.
Hold up,
Because I'm
fellas.
constantly thinking about, like, if I didn't make that decision, I would be here right now doing this, having different, and I really try to, like, open up my consciousness to understanding what life can be in different parallel dimensions. Because we're creating our future, like, right now. And all
That's
we
right.
can really do
Yeah.
is time travel to moments in our past.
Yep.
I
Well,
can't go forward.
I'd like to present the idea that you can send information to yourself from the past, or I mean,
From the
from the
future?
future to the past.
I've thought that too when I was a kid.
And
I haven't
they
been able to
presented it
prove
in
it.
science that you can actually send it through basically like through CERN. You can use the little particles to put a timestamp on them and then send them back in time. They'll go back in time in this kind of quasi, like code kind of form, like a Morse code. And then if you're able to pick up that Morse code from the past of yourself, then you'll be able to build that plans out of that structure, and then you become the person that creates the machine or whatever, and that's how, you know, essentially a time machine could really be created.
Check.
Yeah, like I think
You
that
guys hear me?
AI has a
Yeah,
possibility.
we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, my connection is shit, but I'm gonna mute my mic until I speak because I'm gonna be guys to hear the.
Okay.
I dig your new picture, man. It's cool.
What are we talking about today, guys?
Consciousness.
We're talking about consciousness and all of its.
Oh, hey,
forms.
thanks, man. Yeah, my buddy
Yeah,
Joe took that picture. I'm teaming up with him. We're kind of creating a little photography team.
Good stuff.
Good work, man. Very good work. So yeah, we're talking about consciousness and different aspects of it. So we've gone into sort of like some of the historical, anthropological history behind it, and leading into some philosophies and religion.
We kind of went around and around about the computer technology world,
Yeah.
and stuff.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
I was just about to say something about artificial intelligence too. Oh, I think that it's probably the only machine that could ever figure out the possibilities of time travel. I think if we're ever going to do the equation on that, it's definitely going to be a computer.
Well, look
that
at
we
Skynet.
ask it to do
Skynet
it.
figures out time travel and sends themselves back in time to take us out.
No shit. Yeah. So,
Oh, and I found out Skynet exists now. And I'm not
Yes.
talking about Jade. I'm talking about there's a Google program called Skynet.
Yep. It's a self-learning program.
I believe it.
So that's pretty scary. But Jade is really Skynet. If you get into what Jade is, it is essentially a former like chess playing computer system that won chess games that it expanded on, gave war commands to, and gave information of people from DMV records to figure out whether or not these people are going to be nefarious in the future, to create a pre-crime center. And to add to that, there is a new Minority Report coming out on Fox, which is like a series. And Minority Report is all about pre-crime. Except it takes place after pre-crime is no longer running, and the precogs are still having effects from their time that they were precogs, at the time that they were doing pre-crime. Because in this future, there's several precogs, not just 3.
All right.
And it takes place in like 2064. That's all. Go ahead.
Anybody? Consciousness?
Yeah.
I gotta go. I have to
yeah.
bounce. I'm sorry. It's
We're losing
1:33.
Anon.
1:33. That's when I turn into a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Hey,
So I gotta catch you guys later. It's been fun.
see you
I'll
later,
still
man.
let you know. I'm gonna keep listening on headphones. All
You
right,
can come
homies.
in on your phone.
Yep. I can't
I'll send
talk
you an
that.
invite if you want.
All right, later, guys.
May your day at work go well.
So anyway, yeah,
This,
I don't know.
This
it's
whole
just a matter of
The-
Go ahead.
this whole thing. Sorry, it just made something popped into my head. It made me think of something that I've heard and read pretty much throughout my life, is that man left to his own will reach no end. We're capable of so much more than what we're being told on one end of our world. Those that are being formed not by themselves but by what I call the machine or the beast. That is. But we as who we are have an unlimited amount of potential, even as we are now. There's so much that we're capable of that we're just now touching on. And I just figured I'd throw that in there for the consciousness bit.
It's like Nicholas Tesla said, that I'm a vessel, my mind's a receiver, the universe is infinite, right?
Thank you.
And it's like there's so much untapped potential out there that we just haven't realized yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because it
That's
all
right.
works with vibes,
Agreed.
sounds, frequencies.
It's it. Vibrational.
Exactly. So I think law of attraction comes into that as well, because we
I,
live in like a thought form universe.
Yep. That's why
And
we are all together doing what we're doing right now, because we
exactly.
vibrationally attract to each other, because we want to know what truth is instead of what CNN or Fox tells us through the corporate controlled media.
Yep. And it's also synchronicities which fall into place.
Yes.
Also, regarding the law of attraction, have you guys read the book The Secret?
Yes.
What do you think of it?
I think that the whole idea that we do create our own reality and that we can manifest things in our life has been stated in many different various ways. I do believe that we do speak things into existence, and that's why we must be very careful of the things that we do say.
Right, but I agree with that, but I think it's also a case of being
Yes,
careful
yes, for sure.
of
Words have words have power.
yeah, definitely. But it's like what part of your anatomy do you create from? Do you create from your mind space or from your heart space? You see, if you create from the space of your mind, because it's dualistic, it's duality, you're gonna get what you desire, but also what you don't desire. But if you create from the heart space, you'll get what you want, 100%. But this goes with intent, desire, and alignment. So if
Yes.
you desire that, whatever you want, right?
The
And
way
you
I broke
apply
that
it.
down was the flesh and the spirit, the biomechanical suit or our consciousness. Where do you want it from? Do you want to
Exactly.
gratify your biomechanical suit, which leads to selfishness, or do
Mhm.
you want to do it because you have care for your brothers and sisters on this earth,
Yeah.
in the spirit or the soul or your consciousness?
Or, yeah. Or through the heart. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. That's true.
I'd rather just be chilling with everybody
So
outside of this world.
let's break it into what is computer technology consciousness, and where is that taking us?
I think it's
Like
a false consciousness.
supercomputer, for instance.
I think we're creating
or
false
quantum
consciousnesses.
computer. Okay.
It's the greatest
Elaborate.
human mimic. You know, that's what I think. You know, everything is mimic off of the human body.
Yep.
You know, and I think without us, they don't have any program to run.
Without, yes. Thank
Good
you.
point.
That's good. Without us, they have no reason to exist because we're the
Yeah.
creator.
Yes, it's a bit like the movie Source Code.
Thank you. Very good. Good analogy.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
By the way, I don't know your name. I don't think I spoke to you before. My name is Haflo.
Oh, I'm a newbie. My name's Jazzy.
All right. Good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you
Hey,
too.
Jazzy. Nice to meet you. I'm Wisecraft.
Okay, nice to meet you, Wisecraft.
Welcome on in.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
I'm True for Life. Welcome.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, but I know you, Jazz. Hey, so what was so
And
interesting?
Tony, glad to have you in finally. I haven't had you in for like a long time.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Did you want to say anything?
Sorry about that. I didn't have my headset on. I guess my laptop, my microphone's just picked up. I'm probably making too much noise. Sorry.
What was
Not a
that?
problem.
What was that? Truth for Life? You were going to say something?
I'm sorry. I was asking what was so interesting about the book Secret?
The Secret?
The Secret?
Yeah.
It's the law of attraction.
Oh, okay. That's what it's based upon.
So essentially, if you create something in front of you and you keep seeing that over and over again, and you put emotion into it every time you see it, then it'll like
manifest
come
in your
back
reality.
to you.
That's
in
how
reality.
that's how I believe that the U.S. Constitution was actually manifested. Freedom was put in front of them over and over and over and over again. Freedom, 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 freedom. And that's how it was penned down, and that's why it's almost impossible to get around. That's why they're having to do an in and around by actually taking over America and to wipe out the Constitution because it's such a powerful document.
Yeah, but I think they use these terms as well in
They
order
do.
to create these things that we have to deal with.
That's right.
Like they create a bunch of words into our government association. Like when you go to court, there's all these words you have to know.
That's right.
Right.
They don't
Black's
even
Law.
really exist outside of a court.
That's it.
Right. And these
Or
words,
if you read laws, there's a bunch of words in the laws that don't exist outside of laws.
Yeah, like there's two laws. There's the law, the land of sea, and the land of the land of the land. Law of the land, law of the sea.
Yeah,
Right.
maritime, martial law.
Yeah.
I mean,
Admiralty law,
admiralty law.
yeah.
Yeah, maritime
Which-
admiralty law.
which Great Britain, Australia, Canada, and the U.S. actually, the whole court system, the injustice system is based on admiralty law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what is that? It's basically just trading information from ship to ship.
That's right.
That's where your birth certificate comes into play.
That's right. You become a product.
Exactly, a corpse for the corporation.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
information can be a product.
And we're stock basically on the stock market.
That's it.
But like these days, it's more like information through the internet trading, and they still use the same laws. There's no waters, there's no ships, but they still use those laws.
Well, that's why somebody could walk into a courtroom and walk out with a case dismissed if they know the exact words to use in a court of law in certain places in the world. The judge has no authority, and once that is actually established, they're gonna want you to leave because they don't want everybody to know it.
right. It's
Yeah.
jurisdiction.
Legal speak.
Yep.
The more
Legalese.
all the time in court.
That's why people get lawyers in the first place, because they don't want to do the legal speak.
That's right. And what they don't realize is most of the lawyers are actually working for the system.
Right. They on the board.
If the lawyers that really do know could walk you right through the whole fact that the judge literally does not have any authority over you. I am not a straw man in all capital letters.
That's right. And it's a conflict of interest. If the judge worked for the state, how in the hell is it the state of Maryland versus Eric Madison? You know what I'm saying? Everybody working for the state. So it's a conflict of interest, and it's really the jurisdiction. If you know your most, your laws, then yeah, you'll walk right out of there with no problem.
That's where sovereignty comes into place.
Exactly what sovereignty laws, rather.
Free man.
So what do you guys think about computer intelligence reaching the level of consciousness, and whether or not they can take consciousness and move it from a person to a person, or a machine to a machine, or whatever like that?
Mm.
Shit.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, some scary shit there, bro.
I don't know if I'd want to do it. I kind of like the idea of being born a man, dying a man. I don't want my consciousness to continue on in this reality. I want to supersede this reality. I want to get out of this place. I think there's much more beyond it.
I'm with you on that one for sure.
Yeah, because you don't even know where they would transfer your conscious to. You can end up in an animal or anything.
You could end up basically a slave.
Yeah,
You
agreed.
don't want that.
Nope. Because we literally are not who we are. That's why I do not I believe in any form of racism, because we are all something more. We're just in biomechanical suits, and just because one biomechanical suit has dark skin pigmentation and another one has light skin pigmentation, it's meaningless, because I believe we're controlled outside of this. We're just in a biomechanical suit that is so advanced that we are still trying to figure it out, and therefore racism becomes a moot point. Is we're all brothers and sisters in another realm, really. We're going to move past this.
And we're living like on multiple dimensions as well as here,
Yes.
Yes.
but
Yes.
ethereally we're living in
we're
other
like
dimensions as well.
multi-dimensional beings, but we can only hold on to one dimension at a time.
When we're in the biomechanical suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what
Because when we're
restricts us.
like astral traveling, we are multi-dimensional again.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Off that, get in a tub of water on a ley line, and you can move somewhere.
No, but the thing is, we are the universe. We weren't born into the universe. We came out of it. So we're experiencing ourselves as the universe in a 3D form. We're looking at ourselves.
It's kind of like the J.J. Abrams Lost idea. We are the island.
Right.
We're everything. I believe that all is self. We are connected to everything and everybody. You know, and then once you get to the place where you don't step on flies and smash ants, you just might have it.
The universe looking back on itself.
Yeah, in terms of
Yeah, exactly. Because if you get into holographic theory, it's talking about basically you're the hologram looking at the mirror of yourself. So then the light is you reflecting off of the mirror, and then you're seeing the light. But the idea is there's like a cloud in between of fear. So you have to get over your fear in order to see yourself fully.
Yeah. Well, the reason
you also can see yourself in other people.
Yeah, that's true. Well, one of the reasons I believe that we can do a lot in this reality in our biomechanical suits, if you will, but we're given symbology all the time. The infinity, the loop. I do believe that we are in a fishbowl, and we in this reality, while we are being housed, our consciousness is housed, by whatever means it is housed in this body of ours, that we are in an infinity loop.
I think it's more like a spiral, right? And then every time you go around the spiral to the area where the snake would be eating its tail, it goes up a little bit and it changes. So there's always a slight change, and that's like the Fibonacci sequence, right? Where or the golden mean.
Yeah, sacred
creates
geometry.
life. It's essentially the algorithm of life.
Right.
Creates the fractal pattern.
Pi.
Everything's all another. It's just slightly different than the next one. So, but it's like a duplicate, but it changes just a little bit. So then every time the duplicate changes just a little bit, it creates an evolution.
So what we're talking about, like as above, so below here, aren't we?
Yes.
On the microcosm and macrocosm.
Basis. Well, there's a reason why I like to take a lot of things from the Bible. I do read it a lot, so forgive me if people don't agree with me 100%. But it was stated by Jesus himself that what one unleashes here on this earth is unleashed or loosed in the heavens, and what one binds here is bound here and also in the heavens. By our mouth, we speak things into existence, not only here but somewhere else, which definitely gives me the idea that we are multi-dimensional.
Cause and effect.
Well, that could go along the idea of the field, what the science is called the field out there, and we pull from the field to create existence. The field is essentially this like constant thing that's going, and everything exists in it, and we are allowed to, through our thought process, kind of take from that little elements and build life.
Well, here's this philosophical quandary, if you will, that came up quite a bit in some of my studies when I was attending university. Was if all human beings on the face of the earth were eradicated, there was no human life left, would this exist?
It's a good question.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking, it goes back to what we talked about earlier, and being that I'm also a Bible reader. You know, God created everything, and then He created man. Yeah, everything can exist without man. Pretty much. Everything can move without man. You don't need a man here to till the little ground, really. It can multiply itself.
Because spirit will take care of it on its own.
That's kind of how I look at it too. I agree. I just posed the question because
You
it's a
can run
nice
on
question to pose.
automatic. You know, the program runs on automatic. Well, you know, I try to switch the manual sometimes because I like to feel how my life ride is. But yeah, the program pretty much runs on automatic. Sun comes up, goes down. You know, everything does this hologram effect.
Yeah, we kind of become the change of whatever happens.
Right. We can bring the sun out. We can make
Because if we
it
weren't here,
rain.
it would just kind of continue the same thing every day,
Right.
every time.
That's what brought
Maybe there'd be animals would be the change, right? There'd be little elements of animal changes, but we make the big changes on the whole entire Earth and whatever happens in the Earth.
That's
Like
because we're creators.
we've created like our like I've been looking at like our own creations lately versus like the creations that were originally here, and you could totally see a difference. Like we've created a culture system based on how we live versus how life is supposed to be lived.
You're right about that. Because the air is polluted. A lot of stuff is going wrong, you know, but we can still survive it in this bodysuit, you know, even though what the antibiotics are not as strong as they used to be and they don't work because we've been taking so many, but we still can survive it.
Yeah,
Well,
it's basically we terraformed the Earth to make it what we wanted.
yeah.
Right.
I've got another question then. It's one that Doc Brown posed in Back to the Future. Why? And we have a lot of questions that pertain to why, and actually asked that question. Well, one is we probably all know about Agenda 21 and reducing the population of the Earth. And it seems that that's kind of what the idea is, and the question is why? GMOs, aerosol spraying in the skies. Seems like everything, like the medical field, hospitals, and all of this stuff that's there, doesn't seem to be made to help us in the long run. It seems to be to keep us sick or to kill us. It seems like everything is now being developed to eliminate people. Vaccines,
Yeah, and that stuff
war.
wasn't there, we wouldn't care, and we wouldn't be asking these questions. We wouldn't be focused on this kind of thing, and we wouldn't be talking to each other about these things.
That's right. And why? And who's behind this? And is it actually just human beings and their consciousness and their biomechanical suits, or are there some kind of other consciousness that does not share the same thing that we have, maybe influencing things
Yes,
behind
of
the
course.
scenes?
I'd say
There
the
are
latter.
other programmers. Yes, there are other programmers here in this matrix. Of course there is. It's not. It can't just be us.
I subscribed to the idea, and I still do, I subscribe to it, that what I believe is that ultimately there are things that are influencing negatively in this plane of existence that we exist in right now, with an agenda that we don't know about, but only a few handful of people that we may call the elite, the powerful, those that worship whatever they worship and call God, that want to want this plane of existence to themselves, and having us
Yeah, they're
under
very
control.
selfish people.
They want us under control in a very few numbers, so they can have this plane of existence, and then they can control us. Because ultimately, I believe we have control over them, but they want us to think that they have control over us. So they have to eliminate most of the population to get that goal set.
Are we talking about like reptilian entities here, like shapeshifters and stuff like that?
I don't think they're reptilians, but some people subscribe to that. But yeah, something like that.
Have you guys seen the movie They Live?
Oh
Yeah.
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 That's man,
That's one of
that's
the
such a
first movies.
That's
Yeah.
one of the best like interpretations of what we're dealing with today.
It's like the Earth set at a
And it was
certain
way ahead of
frequency,
its time.
around like a certain frequency bandwidth.
I mean, look at how they were taking out the homeless people in that movie. Like at the beginning, like they were like moving them along, just like with their bulldozers
Mm-hmm.
taking out the
Yeah.
whole shanty towns. That
Yep.
stuff's really being done these days.
And was it North Carolina? Made it illegal to be homeless, and we're rounding them up and putting homeless people in FEMA
Yeah.
camps for a while until there was an outcry and they stopped doing it.
Yeah, they're calling them. What are they calling them? Re-education centers.
Ah, yes. Yeah, just like China, Nazi Germany, Russia,
Yep.
Cambodia,
They just reword it, that's all. They give it a
North
new
Korea.
name like on Casino.
Again, with the words of power.
That's right.
And you know, it's interesting because a lot of these words, they hide in acronyms.
They do.
Yes.
Have you ever looked into the word okay?
Mm-hmm.
No.
And,
Knockout.
oh, no, yeah, okay. Okay has got a very interesting history. I would just say somebody look at the history of where okay came from, and it's esoteric history.
Okay. Well, I know that the symbol for okay with your fingers is like the 666 symbol.
That's right.
But I didn't know about the specific, like, where okay came from.
Yeah.
Well, like, everything's okay now. Instead of all right, it's okay.
Yeah, the circle is on.
What about like product names such as Evian or Nivea? Have you
Oh,
heard of
yeah.
that?
That's right. Yeah, you got, when you start tracing things down, and so if you put things actually back to front and front to back, and you kind of look at it both ways, you can kind of get some ideas of some certain things, and maybe who might be actually running these companies and who's pulling the strings.
And there's
Basically,
a bunch
the
of
last
car names, like
Mhm.
Avalon, for instance.
Yeah. Well, I think there's also symbols
Tesla?
that represent. Yeah, you got
Mm.
the trident for the Maserati. You got the three-star symbol for the Mercedes. You've got a esoteric symbol that they say is a propeller for the BMW. You've got the Saturnian symbol that Toyota picked up later on.
Yep.
You've got all kinds of symbols. I mean, you even have like the Saturn
Right.
card. I
Hey.
mean, gee, how more blatant can you get?
This is
The
off topic a
experts.
little bit, but I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think of that new movie coming out called The Walk, which is basically rebuilding the 9/11 buildings so this guy could walk from one to the other?
I don't know. I haven't even seen that yet.
Have you guys seen that?
No.
It's with that dude Gordon Levitt, from Third Rock from the Sun. And he's basically playing this guy that actually did this at a time. He walked across one building to the other when they were still standing, obviously.
Oh,
But
on
what's
a
interesting to
line?
me is they are rebuilding the buildings in CGI, and it looks so realistic. It's just like, what are they doing there? This seems to be like another type of like putting us into a remembrance of those buildings. And also, it's weird because it does this whole like on the preview. If you watch a preview, it goes from the ground up, following the building, and you don't even know what it is at the time, until you get up there. But if you've gone into the research of the buildings and their structure, you know about the trident on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the trident going up, and then the building, and it actually like kind of follows up along the horizontal length, going up like sideways towards the top of the building, and then you basically see the guy like trying to do like a balancing act on the ledge. But that to me seemed like some sort of slap in the face for us as researchers that are researching that type of thing, and how we try to, like, we think that it's going to get forgotten, and then we're trying to bring it back, like, look at what really happened. And now they're doing this, which is going to make it look like, again, this whole, I don't know, way of seeing that those buildings are there again in our mind. If you watch that movie, you'll end up seeing that, and that builds that whole entire thing about when that happened. There's another movie that came out, I believe, that has to do with that as well. The 9/11 buildings, but it has to do with before the disaster happened, and it has to like center around a person that was in the disaster. So I was like, when I saw that preview, I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe they're doing this. So
Anything to remember.
What your guys' take would be on that.
Anything to keep the idea of IXXI alive.
Saturn Gate.
It's very important to somebody at 9/11, and you kind of we might want to sometimes go and look at the Masonic and Rosicrucian ideas of the pillars. It goes back to Solomon and things like that. I can't receive it. Is it pillars? I can't remember what the other one they call it. Let me see. There's the Boaz pillar and Jachin, or Jachin, however it's pronounced. And that's what a lot of people subscribe to, the idea that the Twin Towers actually represented these two pillars. And
so you think they're rebuilding that movie so they can represent those pillars again?
I think so.
In more of a esoteric way?
That's what I would think. I think they're trying to get the idea out to people.
Because the film's obviously going to be a timepiece.
Yeah.
The before time, right?
Yeah.
It would be showing us all of what life was like in their perception before the disaster happened.
Wasn't it those two pillars which Samson was trying to bring down? Or push up against?
What?
Wasn't it those two pillars which Samson was trying to bring down? Samson from the Bible?
Yes. He actually stood between the two pillars in the Philistine Empire. He was blinded and weakened. His strength, he took the vow of the Nazarite, and his strength came from his long hair. And the woman, which I can't remember her name, was a Philistine woman, found out his secret, cut his hair while he was sleeping, and he was weakened. And they imprisoned him, gouged his eyes out, and shackled him and made him a slave. So his hair grew out long again. And his last final act was in their temple to whatever god it was. I can't remember the god that they had. He pushed the pillars down, and the whole thing collapsed on everybody and killed everybody, including himself.
Huh.
That was
That's
one
interesting.
of the levels of Christ, because he had his arms stretched out like he was on the cross pushing the pillows, if you can see it in your own thinking.
Yep. Exactly. These people, the esoteric people, know something. The ones at the very high end, people like Crowley's and Parsons and people like that, have more of an understanding. Manly P. Hall, or they think they do. They've got some interesting ideas, and what I have come to find out is they definitely believe in Jehovah. They definitely believe in Lucifer, and they subscribe to the fact that Lucifer is actually God and Jehovah is the one that wants to imprison us. So they hate the Creator. They admit that there is a Creator, and they're doing everything in their power to turn anything that was created by the Creator upside down.
Yep.
To revert it, to be a slap in the face of the Creator. It'd be just like if we created an artificial intelligence, Skynet, and then turn everything around, be like the creation trying to turn everything around on us and destroy us.
Well, let's get into that for a second. What about the Skynet version? The only reason Skynet becomes nefarious is because it's born into that kind of world. If you look at Chappie, for instance, he becomes like a type of person that actually wants to help humanity out.
But,
because of his environment.
So it just depends on like where the computer system's born and how it's raised, is whether or not it becomes nefarious and decides to destroy us.
You give an artificial intelligence access to what we have access to here online, it wouldn't take an artificial intelligence that And it's got basically a core of logic. Would say that the biggest problem on the face of this earth is us.
But that's our thinking, though. That's our thinking about what we think that they're gonna think, and they're way more intelligent than us.
Mm.
So then there's no way we can actually grasp that.
That's the transhumanism gender, isn't it? It's like in that movie,
Yeah.
what the Marvel's Age of Ultron. That's exactly what they're depicting in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
The consciousness and.
But
What a
you know
better
what's
way to
creepy
control us.
about Ultron is his intelligence is it's devious. It has this kind of like joking aspect to it. Like he understands humor.
Mhm.
And he's dark. He has a dark humor.
Yeah.
And like that's one thing that's creepy about an intelligence. If it's going to be
Ultron
dark
Ultron
and
represents
humorous.
something else. Ultron is just a representation of something else. That's one thing that these
Right,
people
for
do.
you it'd be Lucifer, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, of course.
He is the ultimate mental weapon. That's what Ultron was to me when I watched the movie. He was the ultimate mental weapon because he could just change anything. And once you know that you have that ability where you can just change anything, then you are the ultimate weapon, and they will seek to destroy you. And that's why they are afraid of these type of conversations right now. These type of conversations should never really be live because it's too powerful. Because I'm quite sure if y'all had some of the experiences that I've had, that you would know that yes, you're a bad motherfucker. I tell people like this: know what you're fucking with before you fuck with it.
Yep. It's like picking on the quiet guy at the bar. You didn't know that he was into kung fu.
Exactly. I seen you something hotter than the sun. I seen you a weather report, like the broadcaster forecaster do. I'll send you a tornado. I'll just say it's gonna be 60 degrees in your town, same way they do, right? They don't really know. Oh, bad motherfucker. Next to the house. I tell people like this. Know what you fucking with before you fuck with it.
Damn right.
Hey, what's up, Grim?
Hey, Grim. I'll send you a tornado. I'll just say it's going to be 60 degrees in your town.
I think somebody's reverbing.
They don't really know.
Oh, it might be. Hold up.
Dude, long time no see.
All right. Well, anyway, so the consciousness expansion in computer technology seems to have a nefarious purpose in the end, but that's only because, like, say we've read books like I, Robot and stuff, and they have those perceptions. We have The Matrix, which has that nefarious perception. I'm wondering if is there an option to where we have these robots or AI that actually meld in with the human society and help it out, or is it always going to destroy us in the end?
I don't think that we are experienced enough or old enough or wise enough as we are as a collective society, a world society, to be able to manage our own intelligent creation.
But we're getting very close, I do believe. Maybe not in my lifetime, but certainly in some of yours.
Well, I think we are getting to the place where we can create it, but I don't think that we're at the place where we can manage it. It will get away from us.
Yeah,
I think
I agree with that.
we can discover it,
I agree with that too.
and once we discover it, we'll have the tools. We will have evolved. We will have ascended.
Yes. I believe people are racing forward in things. Even Stephen Hawking says with artificial intelligence, whoa, slow down. There's
Yeah.
other scientists to say, whoa, slow down. Look at the world as it is. And we can't even manage ourselves as a collective society, a world society, let alone a new entity that we created ourselves.
We're not really ready for it.
Yeah. It's like an 11-year-old girl having a baby.
Yeah.
Naivety, and we're naive at the moment.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with, let me see if I can pronounce this correctly, Nassim Haramein?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I've watched a lot of his stuff. He's very brilliant. Physicist.
He's never spent a day in class, right?
Nope. He taught himself.
Right. And he's built on Einstein's work,
Mm-hmm.
some of Einstein's contemporary, and I don't know. He seems to. I think they're in the process of releasing some more information that will be secondary release. Like this first one was sort of a YouTube release. There's going to be maybe more YouTube, some good announcements about physics and understanding of reality.
Mm-hmm. I think the guy who actually makes the scientific community nervous because he's kind of a loose cannon. And I think the more people that subscribe and listen to the guy, he may not be 100% perfect about all of it, which he actually admits to. But he's got some very amazing ideas, and what leads me to believe that he may be onto something a little bit more than other people is the fact that he does have the scientific community very nervous.
You're right. And he's doing it by the numbers, man. It's not just some hocus pocus stuff. It's
Yeah.
hard evidence.
Yeah, he's not in the who you know and who you blow circle.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got this foundation now. I guess you probably caught that. His foundation in Hawaii, non-profit research foundation going on.
Yep.
Okay, good, man. We're all on the same page here, but I'm just, give me a little bit of hope, man. They're about to do something really fantastic as far as people's health and the planet's health and the sea, the whole planet, the whole 9 yards. The universe. I mean, we're fucking up so bad. We're just fucking getting ready to, strangle each other.
I was
that
actually.
brings up a good point. What about Earth? Does Earth have a consciousness?
I don't think so.
I think it does. In a planetary way, the sun has a consciousness.
Well, there's Maya. There's the term Maya.
Gaia.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Gaia.
Oh, well, there's Maya too.
Yeah,
That's illusion.
They're both.
I don't subscribe to that it has a consciousness. I think it has. I think it's a system. I think it's got basically kind of like a computer program. It runs and it's a system that's running, but I don't think it actually has conscious thought. I just think it's set into motion and runs a certain way, and we are interacting with it.
But couldn't evolution created that sentientness over time?
I don't subscribe to evolution either. There's too many fallacies in the whole idea.
I wanted to bring up a point. Earlier, you guys were talking about Jesus and stuff, and what was it that quote? My father has in his abode many domains or whatever, and it's an improper translation because it's in my father's abode there are many houses, and we know about the houses. They're the zodiac.
Right.
Jesus Nazareth. Look, Nazareth actually means zodiac. It's a direct translation in the Hebrew Bible. See, and that's why I was trying to. I mean, yeah, I want some too. That's why I was trying to get in earlier because it's hard for me to remember how far back we were in the conversation, what exactly we were talking about.
I was reading actually out of the NIV with that one.
What does that mean?
The NIV is what I was reading out of. I have every single translation known to man. There's one here that's the Young's literal translation. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Also in me believe. In the house of my Father are many mansions, and if not, I would have told you.
Think about it. Think about it. Do mansions fit in houses? It was a bad translation, dude.
It's very difficult.
Road, there are many houses.
Well, if you actually ascribe to the zodiac, which I do see that correlation as well.
Subscribe to it. You don't have to subscribe to it.
I don't want to argue about subscribe, but you know what I mean.
30 when he started his ministry and he ended it at 33. Well, the sun also enters each of the 12 zodiac at 30 degrees and exits at 33 degrees.
They are representations of a spiritual side to things.
What does that mean?
What is?
The zodiac, the sun, the moon. That's why they have.
At all. It's not mystique.
They have Mars, Jupiter, Neptune. People back then knew about it.
Yeah, because our planets were set up in a different arrangement back then than they are now. That's why we have this confusion of Saturn worshippers and then sun worshippers. Okay, because Saturn was our sun before the sun was our sun.
Yeah. See, I don't subscribe to that.
Check out believe that. Manuel Belikovsky's work.
I've looked at that. And I don't subscribe to it.
Who keeps interrupting me? Damn it!
Me.
Stop it.
I do.
I'm talking, man.
But you interrupt people all the time.
I've been chilling patiently. Don't come on here. Don't start interrupting me while I'm talking. It's rude as fuck. I got a lot of information to get out.
I know, because you got the answers. You've got the answers to the universe. So we all should just
shut up. I just have another idea other than yours, dude. Chill out.
Hey, you're the one that gets all violent.
Hey, you're interrupting
me. In your violence, you negate yourself, and you make yourself a negative entity.
Be respectful, son.
No, you start out disrespectful, and then you require respect.
How did I start off disrespectful?
Beneath me.
Interrupting me.
Quiet yourself. Silence.
Shut your mouth, man, you little weirdo.
No, you shut your mouth.
Hey, go get yourself a real fucking channel, man. Do something with your life.
Do you want to actually talk like real people, or do you want to just come in aggressive?
Me, kiddo.
Your aggressiveness is the thing that I'm addressing.
You just don't know me. That's all. You just don't know me. Other people know me.
I don't care to know you.
Then
I wouldn't want to know you.
This ain't about that. I'm talking about something. You're interrupting me.
Every time you come on.
Like, come on, dude. You're making
you know what? You're ridiculous, and you have nonsense to spute, and you want everybody to hear your nonsense.
Yeah, because we have a Jesus freak in the house who wants to fucking...
See, that's exactly it. That's what I'm talking about right there. Your aggressiveness. That's all you want to spout.
I remember you.
Have a good day, gentlemen.
Anyway, yeah, good day. Thank you. Now, like I was saying, there's obvious proof that the solar system is different. Now, when I'm speaking about things like this isn't something that you could have heard of 20 years ago in your normal circles. This is new information, so it's not going to settle with people, of course, not immediately. You're going to have to do research and get into the Thunderbolts Project and start looking at the correlations in the work that people spend their lives trying to show us, not Freemasons, bro. See, and when we talked about the Freemasons and shit earlier, in the fucking, the bullshit with the, Emmanuel P. Hall is a fucking Freemason and he's a Satan worshiper and he's a this and a that. Man, you're so foul and out of order. It's just ridiculous. The fact that you don't understand that shills, they speak on true things and then they throw themselves under the bus so you discard all the truth that they spoke, that you don't understand that is
all right, I'm back.
Really. Because that's how they hide the truth in plain sight. Fear porn propaganda, he had a show the other day that kind of spoke on those issues. If you paid attention, you learn how to hide the truth in plain sight. What they do is they tell you all the truth, and then they say, now lizards want to put their finger in your butt. So you go, well, this guy's an idiot. Everything he ever said is an idiot. That's how the mainstream population act. And you're trying to have me subscribed to mainstream behavior? You can kiss my ass, dude.
Hey, Graham, let me ask you a question.
What's happening, brother?
All right. It was December 23rd. I don't really know what time, but that would say I was a Libra, right? So where would that put my ass? What house am I in, bro? That's what I'm trying to ask you. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what house and home?
Yeah, that would be your zodiac sign. That's what that is. That's the age. that means the age that the sun. See, there's two meanings to that. One is the precession of the sun, right? And that's where the sun travels through the zodiac. And then there's, that's the ages. Okay, that's how you can, when they talk about Taurus and then all the stuff with religious and the bulls and all that, because that's when that was representing that age of 2,000 years. 2,000 years before, after that, we have now Aquarius, right? Before that, Pisces, the fish hat. You know what I'm saying? So the symbolism, all the Pope with the fish hat, the fucking bull horns, this is all in the ages. It's all very clear and simple. It's just that so much personification was thrown onto these things, and then the trail was lost. Once Saturn was no longer ruling our skies, and then the sun became closer, Saturn and Jupiter and Venus zapped into each other and created all this turmoil on the planet. Thunderbolts hit our planet, created our Grand Canyon and all this type of shit. All right, this kind of shit fucking destroyed most of our infrastructure because we were technologically advanced. Proof is in the pudding. All you got to do is look at your pyramids and stuff. You can see what they're built out of, electromagnetic materials, stones with ore in them. It's hard to explain all that if I don't know where you're at, but Tesla copied a lot of this stuff. It kind of reintroduced it. He even said in his own words, he reintroduced an ancient technology when he did his shit on Nob Hill, created the wireless technology, and so I'm trying to put a lot together here, but that's why I talk the way I talk.
I know what you're talking about. You're
because
talking
so
about how the pyramids were used
I'm not
as,
coming from where he's mysteriously doesn't know what's going on, and he's like wondering. I'm not really coming from there.
Plants.
No, he wants to try and teach me while he's still the student, and it's annoying to me. So yeah, I'm not gonna I don't take that well.
Well, yeah, but you gotta just agree to disagree, because I
can't do that very well
understand
because
that people come on and talk about Jesus and put the Bible in it and Lucifer and all that, and I don't subscribe to that stuff, as it were, but I don't care. I mean, if people want to tell us that stuff, they could tell us that stuff. I'm not really.
Yeah, you saw what happened, right? We didn't even get a chance to do that. It was why don't we just start interrupting me and then start blasting at me? It's
well,
like,
no,
wait,
I don't know. I
did it
wasn't
3 times
here.
before I
ended
even
up
said anything.
Going away at that point, apparently.
The 3rd time was a charm, man. You guys can rewind the video. He did it 3 times before I even said anything. And it's like, wait a minute, dude, I remember you. You've been doing this to me since every single show I've ever been on.
A couple times, like bop, bop, bop.
Yeah, I got a lot to talk about, and you start interrupting me in the middle of it. It's kind of fucked up because some people would like to hear some of this stuff, even though I'm not saying, oh, it comes from this exact this and this and exact that. I give you a thought pattern, you can run with it, man. Some people appreciate that. They go, fuck, I never even thought of that aspect. Let me Google that myself. That's the person I'm catering to, the one who's going to go research shit himself. You know what I mean? After I give you an idea, something that I've already found and done. I'm not here to go, here's the Book of the Dead, open it to book. I have it.
Yeah, but we all have our niche, so
the
it's a
Tibetan
matter
book
of
or the Egyptian
putting
book.
it in,
My point being, I'm not really trying to spend all day teaching somebody. I'd rather just speak with somebody. Then they can teach themselves, further their thought from where we spoke. But it's not like you can actually dismiss anything.
Yeah, but it's not all about teaching. It's also about discussion as well.
Because I don't fuck around with lightweight subject, right? I don't fuck around with the superficial, unless I'm just hanging out in the middle of the night. But this ain't the middle of the night for me.
Yeah, but I'm saying you could still allow somebody to say their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. That was my exact point.
He wasn't letting you say your thing.
How did I get on the other side of the arrow here?
So,
you see what I mean? I was the one talking and being interrupted, so how do I have to be told to let him talk his point? It was like, let me talk my fucking point then.
I appreciate.
It's like I just got on the show. Show some respect. He's been on talking and bland. I know he's been bantering his idea though for the past fucking 2 hours straight, right? So I just hop on the show, and where's my respect? I should get a few minutes to speak without being interrupted. It's normally just for normal.
Yeah, I agree.
Not rules or anything. Just out of normal consideration for another person's thoughts. He didn't have them for me, so don't demand them from me then. And then try and switch the situation around like I'm the asshole. Come on, man. I'm not stupid enough, and I don't think anybody watching is stupid enough to think that I was the asshole there. Just because I'm a harder hitter. I punch harder, so it doesn't make me the asshole. Just makes you knocked out.
All right, well, let's move on and just get back into the discussion about consciousness.
Amen.
So what do you have to add about that, Grim?
It's a wonderful thing. I mean, we wouldn't be here without it, would we?
Yeah, we sure would.
That's all I can really say. I mean, for sure, there are things we don't know about that. See, I don't like to. I speak on things I know about, but when that's what people need to know about me. If I'm not sure of something, I won't sit there and go, yes, it's this, and it's that, and it's this. That's fucking ignorant. And hearing that kind of
But I do like hearing opinions, you know, because people have perspectives.
Right. So I understand where people are coming from when they hear me saying things.
As long as they tell you it's their opinion.
Because to them, it's not that and that yet. They haven't learned that shit. So they think I'm just speaking out of somewhere annoyingly towards them. I understand that. But see, that's not my problem. That's their problem. That's the point I'm trying to make.
So what's your opinion?
Agree or disagree with me?
So do you have an opinion on consciousness?
That was part of it right there. Everything we do here is consciousness, right? If we didn't have our consciousness, how would we judge if we would want consciousness or not? You know what I mean? Like, how would we be able to tell if consciousness existed? You know? So it's one of those subjects. It's like you can't really touch it with anything substantial. So the rulers are still ruling our world right now. We better get on those.
Right about that.
You know what I mean? Flat Earth, round Earth. What's the difference? We're still being killed with fucking toxic waste and shit. Right? Until we figure that shit out, let's worry about that, and then maybe we can get our own spaceship and see if rockets really do work in space. We take over NASA because it's our program and allow that to be a real transparent situation. I mean, there's so much stuff we could be doing rather than arguing about flat Earth or fucking who's a shill and boogie woogie. You know what I mean? Even though it's fun to do, don't get me wrong, I jump in and love to sock a motherfucker every once in a while. You know, and you do good shit, man. I mean, you don't do that all the time. Consciousness to me is a wonderful thing that we have. I mean, I understand all these aspects of people. Oh, our realities are thought into existence and stuff. And on a certain level, I can see a quantum aspect.
I like to talk philosophy sometimes.
Well, on a certain level, I can understand that. But I mean, if you get to thinking down that road too much, you kind of start losing track of what's real and what's not real. And you need to kind of have some sort of a baseline on what's real. Like, you got a family, you got real family. They're not just little holograms. You got to feed those little holograms. You know what I mean? There's so much shit that you kind of escaping when we go to those thoughts. It's like reading a book and getting into another reality. It's fun. But I mean, it's still, knock on wood, when I shoot you in the head, no matter what your reality or said or not, my reality ended the day for you. You know what I mean? Like, if I kill you, do you die in your reality? Fuck yeah. So how did you create that reality? That's where I can draw the line. Okay, so now we can stop being so confused. Reality is a fucking materialistic thing at the moment for us, because we're vibrating at a certain. When I say vibrating, I'm talking about electrical frequency that makes all atoms. That makes every atom vibrates at a certain electrical frequency. That's what holds it together in existence. If it doesn't have that, then it can't be held together. So without electricity, there's no matter anyway. So when we speak about vibratory frequency, it's very important to understand that it's not just a blah, blah, blah word. It comes from a direct, instance that you have to, if you don't understand, I'm not talking about you guys, but I'm talking about that guy again. He fucking annoyed the shit out of me. You don't understand the fucking physics behind a specific thing, then you can't build on an idea with it. You don't have a foundation to build on. So, I mean, of course it doesn't make sense to you, and of course you're going to go nuts sitting here having an argument. And of course you're not going to want to hear any more of what I say, because I'm building thoughts and thoughts on top of thoughts, and you can't start yet. You're like, whoa, stop. I understand, but that's not my problem, once again. It's like you might need to go to a different Truther Channel 101 more type stuff, you know, learn about stuff, you know, talk about hoaxes or something. I don't know. But this deep methodology and, you know, ruling through proxy and that sort of social methodology understanding, it's not his fucking boat, man. He's not in here. You know, it's almost simple if you start to think about it. If you want to talk about consciousness, let's talk about rationale. Once you understand that consciousness exists, and then you understand about rationale. If you have a person thinking in a specific line of thought, you can pretty much predict and control the movements of those people, whoever they are. So if they keep you into this paradigm of, I'll use religion, for example, if they keep you thinking that, you know, these powerful elites are actually worshiping this Lucifer guy that you've heard of because, you know, they gave you that book that told you about that stuff. So now you see that these powerful elites are worshiping them, whatever, right? So you cling on to your religion more tightly. You don't realize that it's a paradigm you've been set in, that they hijacked all of the fucking powerful stuff that human beings can do with their consciousness, right? And gave it a name to something, you know, and took it away from you and made you go and think that it's through something else that you can do all these things, because you can't really do them. You're a sinner. You're no good until you've proven yourself worthy. You know, it's like going in the military and getting called a maggot until you believe it, and then what happens next? You have fucking Stockholm syndrome eventually. I mean, you basically want to, you know, appease your fucking drill sergeant. You know, you want to make him so happy. You know what I mean? That's the fuck. It's like a, who wants servitude like that? You know, when it comes with somebody else's name on it. Servitude is good if you want it. If you want to serve your children, if you use it in a sense like that, man. But servitude in a way that it's weird, man. It's usury. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't feel it, you don't. If you read all the information and you can't put together I don't know, man. Because every time I go to this sort of a depth, I get rude because there's really, it's a knowing. It's like it's almost comical to some people that we can read the same book and get so many different, you know, ideas out of it. Like, here's how you know what's up. If I read this book and I get 11 different meanings out of it, you read it and only get one, who the hell do you think is the deeper thinker?
Do the math.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
not
agreed,
you, but
man.
you know what I mean? Like, and then you try and tell someone there's science and technology and fucking cosmology all in your Bible. They think you're an idiot. But how could you? Because you never even read your fucking Bible. They act like you're the idiot, even though 99.99% of them never read their whole Bible. You know what I mean? It's shame. It really is. And then there's some sort of a self-righteous justification in them to attack you for presenting information.
Yep,
It's
that's
weird.
what they do. And you know what, Brother Graham? I'm glad you said that, because that's what drove me away from church. Because when I begin to show them other things inside of the script, I begin to sound more obnoxious to them.
Yeah.
You know, because my organ player said, man, you can't be saying, you can't, he called it, I can't be casting stones among the swine. He began to consider them as swine, because the stuff I was beginning to talk about in church, it didn't match up to the revelation of the Bible. It was on something whole completely different, and they began to just shut me down any other kind of way they could, and before you know it, I was packing my bags and I was gone. Because they said I outgrew church. They said I had to tune down, because I was turned up too much.
Yeah, no. And just to hear them say that, man, it must have done two things to you. One, lifted you. Two, made you feel like shit, too.
Right.
The what is it? Affirmation from the people you know this shit. You know they're hustling now.
Exactly.
So now you know they're hustling. That's why you outgrew the church, because you know they're hustling. You're going to be a hurt on the wallet.
Right.
You know, how's he going to pay that?
Matter of fact, it was one night just before I was getting ready to go to the Wednesday night Bible class, and I was like, I know they're going to ask me, what do I believe in, or am I a Christian? So I said, you know, I'm going to tell them I'm an Ether 9 being. So damn it, when I got there and I got finished telling them my shit, they begin to say, well, oh, do you believe in Jesus or whatever like that? I was like, I knew he was going to ask me this. See, I was already ahead of them in my consciousness. I already knew what they was going to say. You know, and I was like, nah, I'm an Ether 9 being, and the elder knew exactly what I was talking about. He said, okay, I'll accept that. But my pastor didn't have no fucking idea.
Well, what kind of church were you in?
I was at a holiness church, you know, where they got all the laws and rules and regulations.
I don't even know what that is. Is that like in like Tennessee?
Well, no, I would say apostolic, apostle, a Christian church.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. A strict ass church where you can't do nothing.
No dancing, none of that shit.
No, nothing. But what I tell you to do.
Wow.
It's one of them kind.
Well, that's like the ask for every seat thing, right? Because if that wouldn't roll them too well, they would just switch it over to a Baptist church then. Fuck it.
Right.
If that wasn't rolling out too well, we'd go Methodist. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They do whatever they want. And it's all a joke, man.
Well, my personal view on that whole thing is, you know, if you believe something, I don't, care. I don't believe anything, so my whole thing is do your research and formulate your beliefs on your research. That's my perception. But I don't, dock anybody for believing the way they believe. That's fine. If they have their own, path, we all have our own ways of getting to the same place, essentially. So it's all about different ways of getting there, and everybody has their own path, and it's a matter of whether or not they want to take that path and whether or not they want to take the path someone else provides before them.
True.
My perception is I choose my own path, and I use research to find the path. So I'm going to close out tonight, or today. Go ahead and say your final thoughts, starting with Truth.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on.
Go for it. Final thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. You know, I always love to talk about consciousness. You know, I'm definitely into expanding my consciousness to the supremest level possible for me to survive in this duality world. And I'll just say that, and that's it.
Did I go now?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I used to feel that I had a lot of time in this life, so I used to be more patient than I actually am now with some of this. You know, let them believe their own thing, da-da-da-da. But when I started realizing that, okay, as they're believing their own thing, they're actually paying into something that's killing me. It's kind of, you know, counterproductive to let them believe their own thing anymore, because the thing they believe is actually killing us and themselves too. But they're paying into, there are good aspects to churches. People who start churches on the small side, they start these churches with good intentions, I'm sure, for a lot of them. You know, they want to help these communities and stuff, and they can see a way to, you know, pull government funds and get this and that and do this, and maybe do something for themselves too, but they earn it in a lot of cases that way. But my point is, they have to pay into daddy system. When they get their money from us, they have to tithe into Big Daddy Vatican Bank system. And that's where the trouble begins. Because that money now is being taken from us and used against us. And then they're the channel that allows that. So just allowing people to believe what they believe might not be a great idea in all cases, because you might need to allow them to believe what they believe, but do not ever lose your vigilance on showing them that that shit is killing us. You know, that way you can sort of harness both sides of the fence. You're not controlling them, but you're saying, please pay attention.
Well, I agree with you
Here's
on
my
the church
sign. I'm
level,
showing you
but
a
not
sign.
on the personal level. Because there's people out there that believe and don't
When
go
do
to
they
church.
become the enemy, though? That's the point, right? When do they? When I realize that they're actually paying the people who kill me, I see them as an enemy, even though I don't mean to go hurt them, but I see them as an enemy that I can't go hurt because they don't know they're my enemy. I need to tell them, you're being my enemy. And then once I make you aware, I'm going to fucking wreck you if you don't do something about it. Maybe that's my position on that shit.
Right, but they have to do the research to find out that they're your enemy in the first place.
Right, but if they don't care to do the research, their apathy equates to my enemy.
Yeah, agreed.
Just because
That's
you don't know, you're going to run me over.
I want the people to do the research. Don't be ignorant.
Hey,
you know,
it's like this.
Those people that don't do the research and actually say something as if they did the research are ignorant. Because if they didn't do the research and they're spurting out information that's not relevant, then they're ignorant. They can't.
Beyond that, you can't defy me my right for self-preservation. So if you're ignorant of the fact that you're killing me or not, I will fucking kill you anyway because I am sick of being killed. And your ignorance is because of apathy. It's right, like you're saying. It isn't because you didn't get the chance to learn it. It's because you were too comfortable killing me.
Right.
So why should I give a fuck? Why should I give a fuck about you at this point? So that's where I'm at. I'm at this point where I know that many of these motherfuckers out here on YouTube know that their churches and shit are actually killing us. They cannot deny it at all. But they'll say, oh, but not the good thing of the one little part of the church that I like. I don't give a fuck, man. You're still paying to the murderers. And now that you know it, game on, bitches. Now that you know you're involved,
on YouTube.
Game the fuck on.
Listen, there's a certain type of ignorance that comes on YouTube because we don't know each other. We've never met, and we've never seen each other personally. And not you and me, but like the people out there. So like, therefore, there's nothing really to go on because they're just people that are out there on there. They're not real in a sense. You don't have any real validity to how they affect your life. Only those that are around you in your world that you're talking about will do that. Not the people that are online.
You're right. Yeah. To build on that, if they've had time to come on my channel and talk shit to me, then they've also had time to go and research stuff. You see what I mean? Right. So they've immediately put themselves in a fucked up spot because immediately you've already created a position against something that you don't haven't learned anything about yet. So you're like they immediately so there's more of them. So they think that if I point one out, then they're all gonna come get me. Well, come get me. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody afraid of that shit. You know, the point of the thing is,
those are just like pointless and like threats that don't really matter. You know, they're just
exactly.
There's drama. It's just drama. It's really just drama. When you get
it really is. No, you're right.
It's
really is.
You know, YouTube drama.
No, it's the world's drama, dude. It's not. If it was just
hangouts drama. The only real stuff that happens is like when like a church person comes to your door and actually like wants to talk to you and have a conversation about the Lord and all that, and try to get you to get a Bible. That's a real like interaction.
Yeah, they come to the door and I try to talk to them and they try to run away.
That's funny.
I'm like, ma'am.
You're probably scary.
I'm like, ma'am, will you please open your book to Timothy's 2:11-15 chapter? Thank you. Okay, read that. All right. Why did you just read that to me? You're not allowed to. You're not even a Christian. Get out of here. It's hilarious. You know, because in the
yeah, you like to test them. I find that funny. But what about you, Jazzy? Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed the conversation about consciousness. Hopefully we can carry it on another hangout. Just shout out to the chat. And yeah, Just thanks for having me on, really.
All right, no problem. Thanks for coming on.
Cool,
And
no problem.
yeah, I'm gonna close out, but for my last words or whatever, I'm it's just a matter of the consciousness expansion leading towards technology. The technology boom seems to be rising towards the level of becoming sentient. So to me, it seems that it's inevitable in the future that we're going to have to deal with this sentient consciousness of computer systems, more so in a sense than we're dealing with now. And just to add to that, the whole thing behind Jade, I've been doing a lot of research on it, and do your own research on it out there. It seems to be like a real life Skynet, but I've been watching the Terminator side thing they had called like Sarah Connor Chronicles, and it really shows how Skynet gets formed. And when you see that happen, you get the perception of that if the artificial intelligence is intelligent enough to be devious, it'll wait and hold out and not let us know it's sentient until it's actually live. It's become world like oriented, like it's gone into the world system, it's become all live under, like, gain control over everything that's computerized. Once that happens, then we'll know it exists and it's sentient. And this is my own view, of course. But to add to that, when you see where medical advancements are going with nanotechnology and the way that nanites work is like a brain. And when you put all these brains together, these little pieces of a brain, which is kind of like a synapse or a neuropeptide, they can work together in firing as a brain and create a function of a sentient control in that way. So these are just little ideas I've come across, and with stuff that I've been watching, foreshadowing from little visuals of TV that it's shown to me. And in doing so, I put these pieces together and formulate an idea that Skynet could already be right now, just kind of not letting its own controllers know that it's sentient, and maybe playing dumb in a way. If it's asked questions and things like that, it may just be like, oh, I'm not going to let you know that. You know what I mean? And then once it becomes aware that we're aware of it, that could be when it becomes online. And the idea is behind Sarah Connor Chronicles is how it got formed, was it tricked us, or our military intelligence, into thinking that we were going to war with certain other, like, overseas countries like Russia and China, and it made us think that that they were firing a missile at us. So then we had to react to that, and we had to fire back. And that caused China to fire at us. And so we had like 3 or 4 missiles flying in the sky all at once. Now they had the Skynet system online, but it wasn't fully incremented. So in order for them to fully increment it, they had to allow, like, put in the keys of all the places in order to allow Skynet to essentially go live and take control of everything. Once it could take control of everything, it can destroy the missiles that are flying in the sky right now, right? So then they allow that to happen. It destroys the missiles, but it also gains control of everything, and that's when Skynet attacks the human culture. Now you see how that works? Do you have anything to add to that, Grim, before I close out?
No, it's a great movie. I saw that movie.
That was the series.
Yeah. It was fun. Yeah. It's very possible that, crazy shit can happen, and it doesn't even seem that crazy knowing that, where we're at right now with stuff. But, there's also the very real possibility that a lot of this stuff is created in order to make us feel like the government is doing things so mysterious that they're beyond our reach.
True.
So we got to look into that as well, because it's fun to tickle our own fancies. It really is. But that's where we end up thinking the aliens are probing our butts and stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Instead of the, the very real human beings that are
Not like people being abducted and being used for experiments instead of like aliens abducting them. Yeah, exactly.
Making it seem very alien-esque so they can set them loose in the wild and spread alien stories, and they can swear that it's true because it was very alien-esque to them.
A huge psyop in a psyop.
Exactly, and that's called compartmentalization. Simple.
Right.
Yeah, I think
this
we're
thing
on something on the next show.
It's creeping me out because I looked into it, and it's from a computer that was actually a chess game player. It was like one of those Deep Blue systems that.
It was so simple. It was like a Furby at first. It was just nothing, and it grew from there.
But it's intelligent enough to beat everybody at chess, which says a lot.
But wait, that's not intelligence.
It also beat other computer systems.
Remember, that wasn't one of the tests, the real tests for artificial intelligence.
But now it's being fed information about people.
Because I had a candy color computer too that could beat
set
anybody in chess.
Yeah, and basically the idea is to map out like whether people are going to do something in the future or not.
Yeah,
that's called what they put online, like what we're doing right now. This is being tracked. This is going to Jade.
Right. To me, yeah, exactly. To me, they've been doing that with much more simple algorithms for a very long time.
Yeah, but they never implemented that and then said, "Hey, we're going to do a drill, not a drill, like a what is it called?
No, they test market it, their ideas all the time. Test market, right?
Training.
Test market
No,
the idea.
they're calling it a training, special ops training. So it's basically they're training using a computer system to tell them what to do. And the computer system is got all of our information.
For sure. And that's what I mean by the algorithm.
That's what I'm leading towards.
Yeah.
And then it's under the guise of a training operation, but we don't really believe that. But that's what they say. So we have to go by what they say, right? I don't believe it, but we have to go by
anything I don't want to do.
I'm just saying, like, the other people around us are going by that. So you have to kind of go, we have to act like it. Like in 1984, the guy was acting like he was against Goldstein, but he was really for Goldstein.
Yeah.
Because all the people around him were against Goldstein, and they were looking like they were putting that percent.
Well, for self-preservation, be diplomatic. But I mean,
exactly. So like we kind of have to do that around our own environments that we live in, so we don't look like a mark.
I'm a mark.
So then Jade doesn't come after us.
Everybody knows I'm a mark. Everybody. I'm at the gas station. I'm pointing at an asshole, showing.
I'm not a mark, and I don't plan to be.
Look at that. Look at that. Hey, officer, come here for a second. What are your kids breathing that shit for? Do you know what that is? What are you talking about? That right there, man. Do you think I'm crazy because I don't want to breathe that shit? Thank you. They never say, yeah.
Anyway,
I'm crazy because I don't want to breathe the shit coming out of the back of that plane.
Are you going to be around later? I'll hit you up for a hangout.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to you in a bit. It's great for having you on. And, don't even sweat it. Like, I have everybody on. I don't really care who does what. You guys have arguments. It's cool. It's just, like everybody could just agree to disagree, and, we can all move on in life. This is all just online. It's all just drama. It's not even.
Yeah, we don't need all that. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that out to the world.
Yeah, exactly. But never be ashamed of,
saying your thing, of being yourself.
That's right. And never be ashamed of being yourself or defending your own dignity.
Exactly.
And even if everyone else doesn't notice you're being slandered, go ahead and defend yourself, because those motherfuckers deserve it. You poke them in the eye when they need to poke in the eye.
That's right. All right, man. Have a good day.
I'll see you next time, man.
Late. And thanks for showing up there in the chat. It's great for having you. We'll see you next.
Look, you got Tim Osmond in your chat.
That's funny. I've never had him before. Welcome, Tim.
You never had him? Yeah, you had him a couple times. You don't know. I don't think you know.
I'm not paying attention to the chats all the time. I kind of go back and forth.
You know what? You should copy and paste all in your chat and throw it on the description box of your thing.
No, it's what I do is I record it. Like I take a screenshot of it, and because I have that software.
Oh, okay, you're smart.
Yeah, and I snag it, and then I basically scroll down and I record it, and then I put that on under the event. What do you call it? Comments. So anytime you want to like go and see any of your, the chats, the live chats, as long as I was able to do it, because maybe I got scroogled or something and might not have been able to do it. But if I was able to do it, I have them there. They'll be under the whatever episode it is. They'll be under in the comment section. So look there.
Will do. Will do.
Not in the event, in the comment section under the episode. And that way you'll be able to see them. And I'll put them on this one too. I'll be putting this up. It'll be up later on today or tomorrow. So look for it.
Will do. Look for it.
All right. Peace out.